Hi, I'm Doreen Edelman, and I chair Lowenstein's Global Trade and National Security practice here in Washington, D.C. Our group sits at the intersection of trade and technology. When I came to the firm, I wanted to focus on technology and helping technology companies work with the U.S. government for national security purposes. And I do this every day through export controls and sanctions. Private companies, startups in particular, have no idea how many agencies and programs there are looking for technology within the U.S. government. And that's how GBRIDGE was born. Let's start with, what does GBRIDGE stand for?
So GBRIDGE is an acronym that we're using to represent an initiative that Lowenstein Sandler just rolled out here in March of 2022. The acronym stands for Generating Business Relationships in the Defense and Government Environment. And essentially what it does is it actually provides a bridge between the government and the requirements that they're looking to solve because they themselves cannot innovate or develop out of them. And that bridge connects them to private sector companies that can provide them with solutions.
Who is GBRIDGE for, and what problems do we think it can help solve?
At the core of this program is that we're trying to help people. And we're not only helping the small companies get that foothold or toehold into the defense or government environment or the intelligence community environment, we're also trying to help the government itself kind of work its way through this process so that they can take advantage of all these great businesses out there that unfortunately the acquisition and procurement process in the federal government is so complicated and difficult to kind of maneuver in that sometimes it dissuades some of these companies from actually participating in the process. And what we want to do is we want to help those companies, because when you do the research, when you start talking to the people that are in the federal government that are decision makers, they recognize and realize how important these kinds of programs are, and we want to be a part of the solution.
What kinds of companies can benefit from GBRIDGE?
We're going to be able to really help those companies that have some sort of capability that the government does not already know about, or the prime contractors are not necessarily familiar with. But our intent is to actually be able to present this capability, this solution they've never heard of, to trigger a response from the prime contractors or the government to be interested in being introduced to the program GBRIDGE, as well as the companies that are a part of it.
Can you give us an example of how GBRIDGE will actually work or is working?
So GBRIDGE actually works on both ends of the engagement, right? So on the one end, obviously, you have the companies that are interested in being introduced to the prime contractors and to the government. On the other hand of that engagement, you have obviously the government customers and the clients, and you have the prime contractors. And again, the concept of the GBRIDGE is we're bridging that gap between the partners who want to be introduced to these individuals or these companies or entities, and the agencies, the departments, and the prime contractors that actually have the problems that these solutions can run up against it. So if we look at it from the partner standpoint, when we bring them into the system, we take a great deal of time to actually sit down with the companies and make sure that we understand exactly what capability they bring to bear, the types of solutions they can provide to the government, and just get a better sense of who that organization is and why they exist. One of the really prime sort of requirements during this process is for us to understand where that company has been in the past with regards to this defense and government space, where they currently are, and where they want to be in the future.
Does the company have to have a certain level of funding or be in any particular stage of development?
It doesn't matter if they have no funding or they have unlimited funding. For us, what we're trying to accomplish is get that unique technology or the capability to a customer, to a government client, or an agency or a department, or a prime contractor that has never even heard of this company. But potentially the capability it brings to bear could potentially be dramatic.
Jeff, I want to hear a little about your history and how you realized that there was this lack of information flowing to the government from the private sector.
So I came to Lowenstein after having served in the federal government for more than 20 years, both in the military side and the civilian side as well. From the military side, I currently am a colonel in the United States Army Reserve as a member of the Judge Advocate General Corps. On the civilian side, I worked for nearly 2 decades as a prosecutor and a legal advisor for national security matters for the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, and the Department of Homeland Security.
Thank you. Is there anything else that you think would be useful to mention?
If there are companies out there that feel like that they have a real innovative solution that the government may not have access to, and they have an interest in actually, getting themselves into the government space and being introduced to people that potentially would be interested in that technology, we want to hear from them. We want to tell their story.
Thank you, Jeff. The GBRIDGE program has the potential to change the dynamics of how business is done with the government. To get more information, please check out the website.